from Washington, this is VOA News. Russia continues to blame rebels for a chemical gas attack in Damascus last month. The U.S. Defense Secretary says officials missed flags about a Navy Yard shooter and the U.S. economy. I'm Marty Johnson reporting from Washington. Russia is sharply criticizing the just-released United Nations report on the August 21st chemical gas attack in Syria, calling it biased, incomplete, distorted, and one-sided. A Russian deputy foreign minister said today the Syrian government has provided new evidence revealing rebels were the ones who carried out the deadly attack last month on a rebel-held Damascus suburb. His remarks come one day after Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov also questioned the UN report, saying there are serious grounds to believe the incident was a provocation carried out by the rebel side. U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel says officials missed warning signs about Navy Yard shooter Aaron Alexis. Alexis is the man believed to have killed 12 people before being shot dead by police Monday at the Navy facility. The Secretary has ordered a thorough review of security at all U.S. military bases around the world after the shooting. VOA Pentagon correspondent Luis Ramirez reports.
U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel told reporters at the Pentagon there remain big questions on how alleged gunman Aaron Alexis, a Navy contractor, managed to retain a security clearance despite a history of mental problems, and how he got a building pass to enter the Washington Navy Yard where he shot and killed 12 people Monday.
Where there are gaps, we will close them. Where there are inadequacies, we will address them. And where there are failures, we will correct them.
Alexis, who was killed during the rampage, was a former Navy reservist discharged in 2011. Alexis' mental state has emerged as a central factor in the investigation. He held a security clearance despite a number of police incidents that included firing a gun inside an apartment building and shooting out someone's car tires. Luis Ramirez, VOA News, at the Pentagon.
U.S. stocks closed at record highs today after the central bank decided to maintain current efforts to stimulate the economy. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 1%, while the Standard & Poor's 500 closed up 1.2%. The Nasdaq also up 1%. Investors showed confidence after Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke said the economy still needs help because the current unemployment rate at 7.3% is still too high.
The committee concluded that the economic data do not yet provide sufficient confirmation of its baseline outlook to warrant such a reduction.
Bernanke said policymakers need more evidence the U.S. economy, the world's largest, is improving before trimming the asset purchases. At least one gunman on a motorcycle has killed the head of the Independent Election Commission in Afghanistan's northern Kunduz province, just days after candidate nominations for the April elections opened. Aminullah Aman died in the hospital today shortly after the shooting. According to local officials, the Taliban has claimed responsibility for the attack, which is the first since the start of this campaign season. China says North Korea is willing to work with Beijing on restarting six-party talks on its nuclear program. Those talks have been stalled since 2008. Shannon Bensent reports from the Chinese capital, where authorities hosted an international forum marking the 10th anniversary of the start of Korea's nuclear talks.
Wednesday's forum in Beijing included attendees from the United States, South Korea, Russia, and Japan. Kim Kai-kwang, first vice minister of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and North Korea's chief nuclear strategist, represented Pyongyang. Ahead of Wednesday's gathering, China's foreign ministry said Kim confirmed Pyongyang is willing to work with China on resuming the six-party talks. Both China and North Korea have pressed for restarting talks aimed at denuclearizing the Korean peninsula. But the United States, Japan, and South Korea oppose a restart until Pyongyang makes verifiable attempts to dismantle its nuclear program. On Wednesday, Kim Kai-kwang called for a resumption of talks without preconditions. Shannon Van Sant for VOA News, Beijing.
Here in Washington, the State Department says that the responsibility is now for North Korea to honor earlier promises to abandon all nuclear programs and existing nuclear weapons. Since quitting the talks, Pyongyang has defied UN resolutions with 2 underground nuclear tests and ignored further directives with multiple missile launches. It also conducted a 3rd nuclear test earlier this year. At least 57 people are dead across Mexico, killed by twin storms battering the west and east coasts at the same time. Tropical storm Manuel killed as many as 40 tourists, it left as many as 40,000 tourists stranded, alive but stranded, in the Pacific coastal resort of Acapulco. Meantime, Hurricane Ingrid struck the Gulf Coast with high winds and torrential rains. I'm Marty Johnson, VOA News in Washington. More news at voanews.com.